Is the Slime Compact Inflator the best electric air pump for your car's tires? Stay tuned as we find out. Welcome back. At TechAutos, we do reviews of the latest tech gadgets and automotive products. If you're new to our channel, consider subscribing. Most car, motorcycle, or bicycle owners have had to refill the air in their tires at one point or another. You might have used a manual foot pump. They work, but are better at giving you a leg workout than at pumping air, and can be quite unpleasant to use. There are electric alternatives, but many have unwieldy form factors or are expensive. Today we're taking a look at the Compact Inflator from Slime, which is a 12-volt DC electric air pump. We bought this at full retail price, and at under $18 on Amazon at the time of filming, it's quite affordable. See the link in the description below. At the front of the box, we see that this is model 40060 and is meant for cars, trucks, bikes, and inflatables. We see that there's a pressure gauge and a work light, and the inflator can apparently fill a car tire from flat to full in 10 minutes. At the bottom, we have just the UPC. On the back, we can see the inflator's dimensions, 6.3 by 5.12 by 2.36 inches, or 160 by 130 by 60 millimeters. It comes with two adapters for items other than tires. Below, the specs show an airflow rate of 0.44 cubic feet per minute, or 12.5 liters per minute. The 12-volt power cord is 9.7 feet long, while the air hose is 19.5 inches for a total reach of 11.3 feet or 3.45 meters. There's a 15-amp, 250-volt, 5x20mm replaceable fuse inside, and the LED work light has a 7-lumen rated output. Apparently, Slime is made by a company called Illinois Toolworks. This is, of course, made in China. On the left, we see some example use cases: auto tires, bicycle tires, inflatables, and balls. Let's open the box. Inside we have the inflator itself and a manual. The manual says the light is for nighttime emergencies. Here are some basic usage instructions and information on how to use the included adapters. And finally, some troubleshooting tips. Moving on, the unit itself is made of black plastic. The pressure gauge shows both PSI and bar units, and below that is the power switch. The form factor is rectangular and curved on the edges, almost like a 3.5-inch external hard drive. On the bottom, we have an area where the power cable and 12-volt power plug are stowed. On the back, we see the peak power draw, 15 amps at 12 volts, so 120 watts, and some warnings. Don't leave the inflator unattended when on, don't leave it endlessly on to overheat, and such. On the left, we see the two plug adapters for inflatables and sports balls. On top, we have the LED light on the left, and on the right, the air hose with its thumb latch connector at the end. Now let's pull out the power plug. We can see it's a fairly standard 12-volt cigarette lighter plug with fairly stiff springs on the sides for a tight fit. Here's the process of packing it all back in. Both the power cable and the air hose pack nicely into the inflator body itself, making for an overall package that's easy to handle and convenient to store. There are no oddly shaped appendages or sharp metal edges to be wary of. The LED on top comes on automatically when the inflator has power. Its function is to help you with nighttime tire refill operations. So let's try just that. We're going to top up the air in our tires using the Slime inflator in the evening. So first we're going to plug the inflator into the 12-volt socket. We're going to temporarily get our USB charging setup out of the way. We've reviewed several of these in-car USB-C chargers, by the way, see the links below. Next, we plug in the Slime inflator's 12-volt plug. The springs are quite firm, so it may take some force. The power is plugged in, so we can pull out the rest of the cable from below. We'll also remove the air hose from the top. The power switch won't work right now because we're not getting power at the outlet. We put the car into accessory mode, and now we have power going to the 12-volt outlet. The inflator's LED light is on, so let's take it out to the wheel. The illumination is useful at night. And now we found the valve stem cap, which is a screw-on piece. This one's green because the tire was filled with nitrogen at some point. We unscrew the cap. Next, we pull out the air hose from the inflator. Open the thumb latch connector, then push it down onto the tire's air valve stem, and as quickly as possible close the thumb latch connector. The inflator's pressure gauge shows us the tire's current pressure at around 25 psi. We need to check the correct pressure, so we look down at the label on the door jamb. The label shows us the correct cold tire pressure is 32 psi for the front tires and 39 psi for the rear tires. In this car, there's also a label on the inside of the gas flap in the rear. That says the numbers are 2929 for normal load and 3239 for max load. We're going to be loading the car up a lot, so let's go with 3239. Let's turn on the inflator. It's fairly loud, as are almost all electric air pumps. It would have been nice if the pressure gauge display were backlit as well. In total darkness, you have to sometimes angle the inflator around to catch the front light reflected back onto the pressure gauge. A few minutes have passed and we've reached our desired pressure, so we stop the pump. We open the thumb latch connector and quickly pull it off the valve stem. We repeat the process for the other 3 tires, just routing the power cable in different directions. Now we're done and we can take the inflator's power cable out of our 12-volt receptacle and re-plug our USB charging setup in its place. We're back inside and thawing after our retreat from the winter cold. Let's clean up the mess by packing the air hose back into the top of our inflator. For the power cable, you could just stuff the cable back in if you want, but we'll first fold the cable back. Next, we secure it with a cable tie. Now we stuff the bundle into the bottom of the inflator, and we again have a neat and tidy little black book. The form factor is perfect to fit into storage cubbies around your car, like the side trunk net in this one. Overall, we're quite satisfied with the Slime compact inflator. A backlit pressure gauge would have been nice, but it's easy to use, works well, and has a great form factor and price tag.